Welcome back to the D4 channel, and today we will be talking about Andor Season 2, Episodes 7 through 9. And oh my god, what 3 episodes this was. But before I get to that, please like and subscribe to the D4 channel for all your Star Wars entertainment on this side of the YouTube galaxy. And again, please comment on this video and any video we ever post. We respond to every one of you guys' comments. So like, subscribe, and please comment. But without further ado, let's get to the spoiler review of Season 2 Andor, Episodes 7 through 9. So if you haven't seen Andor 7 through 9 right now of Season 2, leave now because this is a spoiler review.
Hello. If I've offended you, I apologize. If not, I'd appreciate you pointing that elsewhere.
I don't even know where to begin with these 3 episodes. Like, oh my god, this show is fantastic in the most dreadful way. We have everything going down on Ghorman. We have everything going on with Senator Mon Mothma, and then you have Andor's internal struggles with continuing with the rebellion. I don't know what you know what? Let's start with the Ghormans because, God, like the fact that now we knew we were gonna get the Ghorman massacre in this series. Every fan predicted as much, but the fact that the show basically confirmed that the Ghormans have had 2 massacres within the span of the 19 years the Empire has been in rule. One with Governor Tarkin landing his Star Destroyer on 500 people, and then this what happened in Episode 8, Who Are You, where the Ghormans, credit to them, they're trying to protest peacefully, but the Imperials have already have their narrative set for the galaxy. They need this material for the Death Star. They're going to get it no matter what, and for public opinion to not sway on the side of the Ghormans, they have been feeding this propaganda that we've seen over the last few episodes, and in this case in the Star Wars galaxy for the last few years. And now that the galaxy has had an opinion on the Ghormans, they finally staged, and it's funny too, because I thought, watching the trailer of Andor, I thought that Luthen and Andor was going to stage the massacre to help incite more people to join the rebellion because of the injustice that's happening with the Ghormans. But no, it's the Imperials that shoot a not even the Ghorman, they shoot an Imperial soldier, and then that leads for the Imperials on the ground to start firing at the Ghormans, and then all hell breaks loose. And oh my god, like everything's going on, it's kind of like Ferrix, but like on a higher scale. And just to see, like even before then, you know, when they're marching on, and Cyril, who we thought was maybe going to turn throughout this series, and I feel like, and the sad part is, I feel like if he was given enough time and he didn't die, I feel like he would have joined the rebellion, because you see in his mind, like he wants to be important. He wants to be part of the Imperial machine. He wants to be needed. But somewhere deep down, he has more than Dedra Miro. He has a morality center. He knows kind of what's right and wrong, especially after living on Ghorman for X amount of years. He's talked to the people, he's seen the people, he knows they're not bad people, but he also believes in Imperial rule and law and protocol and all that jazz. But when he finally keeps asking Deidre, like, what are we doing here? Like, all the propaganda, all the stuff, what are we actually doing here? And for him to discover that, like, I can't remember the name, the girl's father of the Ghormans that got massacred. He was like, what kind of being does this? Like, what are you guys taking from us? He sees that they're not just there trying to defend the Ghormans. The Imperials are not there just to help protect the Ghormans or instill their law. No, they're going there to rob their planet, and he kind of finally understands that a little bit. And then he goes to Deidre and is like, what are we doing here? And he sees that the Ghormans are protesting peacefully, and the Imperials, specifically Dedra, is trying to initiate like a violent protest and to massacre. And he can't be a part of it. He goes into the crowd knowing full well what's about to happen, probably knowing that he fully deserves this. And the other end, Andor, you know, we see Yavin 4 also it's so fantastic that we get to see a little bit more of the Yavin 4 jungles. And Yavin and Bix has been living there for a while. Andor is clearly, he's been going on a lot of missions. He's getting hurt. A very cool scene is where they go to find this Force healer, and this person's not a Jedi. It's not a Sith. None of that. I think it's just a person who grew up with Force sensitivity or is more connected to the Force than the average being. Senses Andor and pretty much alluded to the big destiny that Andor has in front of him, which is going to Scarif, gain the plans, and sacrificing his life for the freedom of the galaxy. She calls him a messenger, which at the end of the day in Rogue One, that is basically what he is. He is a messenger to deliver the message that the Death Star can be destroyed, that the galaxy can be saved and free. And it scares him because maybe deep down, even Bix says it, she's been having dreams. Deep down, he knows there's a purpose to everything that he's doing. There's a purpose to everything that he's going through. And it all leads up to what happens to him in Rogue One. So it's very cool to see that whole thing play out. And then I guess she was a Force healer because she kind of healed that blaster wound he had on his right shoulder? Yeah, right shoulder for a while. So he is very conflicted because he wants to fight, but he also wants to get out of places alive. Meanwhile, you have people like his friend Will, who is going to Ghorma because he tells him that, hey, this lady, this ISB agent Dedra, she is there on Ghorman to make, like, she's literally waiting there to be killed, and he can't let what happened to everybody on Ferrix go. So he goes with him, dismissing protocol like he's been doing throughout the entire show of season 2. He goes to Ghorma trying to get to Dedra, but like that whole place is a fortress. The Imperials have already readied every little plot that they're about to do here on Ghormans, and he's there as the massacre ensues. And it's funny, him and Cyril pass each other, not knowing them, and they've been looking for each other for how many years now. And then when all hell breaks loose, Cyril is distraught. He can't believe what's going on. Dedra, no matter how twisted she is, I think she really did care for him because she wanted to bring him back to her office before the massacre started because she doesn't want anything to happen to him. And seeing their whole dynamic of him like almost basically choking her out was very interesting to see. Like their relationship is so toxic, but at the same time, they both do care for each other. But one is heavily imperial, like I'm gonna do whatever the Empire asks for us, even though we've seen her kind of have a panic attack because deep down she has to know what she's doing is wrong, but she's following orders. She's an Imperial Security Bureau officer. She is like the highest echelon of the corruption, so she has to go along. But he's like, I am done with this. And I guess everything that built up, he finally sees, I guess in his mind, the object of everything that went wrong in his life since Ferrix, and he attacks Andor. And oh my God, their fighting was so brutal. Like they're bashing each other. Like this is the most brutal. This whole Ghorman massacre has been the most brutal violence we've ever seen in Star Wars. Now it's called Star Wars, so we've seen a lot of battles, we've seen a lot of war, we've seen a lot of lightsabers, we've seen a lot of hands getting chopped off. But the death in these 3 episodes by far takes anything that Star Wars has ever done. I mean, hell, when the KX security droids are coming out and throwing people around and you're hearing the sound effects of their bones crunching, their backs breaking, and people dying, I was like, oh my God. And then Cyril has Andor dead to right, but you can see in his eyes, he's like, what am I doing? Everything I'm doing is wrong. And Andor, we forget, it's been like, I think almost 5 years, 4 or 5 years since he saw Cyril, and he barely saw Cyril in that whole debacle in Ferrix when he had to escape the first time. He was like, who are you? Like, why are you fighting me so hard? And you could see Cyril, and it's very sad. You could see Cyril like, man, what am I doing? And then he gets shot in the head by one of the Ghorman leaders. And that whole thing was so brutal. And then we finally see one of the KX droids about to kill Andor and get smushed. And that will be K2SO as we know in Rogue One. I do have a little nitpick to pick in this episode. The KX droids. Now, if you played the Star Wars Jedi games, you fight them a couple times, and they're very durable and they're strong droids. But the fact that they look pretty much impervious to blaster bolts, I kind of take offense with, because in Rogue One, when K2 is trying to protect the vote so that Cassian and oh my god, I can't remember her name. Jin Urso trying to get the plans for a Death Star. We see him get we see him get lit up by like all those blaster bolts, and there are holes getting put in him. Now he's the same droid. Now maybe people could use an excuse that when he rammed them and they kind of rebuilt him, his parts weren't as durable. But they were basically impervious to blaster bolts during that whole Ghorma massacre. But then we see K2SO get lit up by a bunch of blaster bolts. A little nitpick, but I know, Star Wars is a lot of things for plot reasons. Like, for instance, in the Clone Wars, Mandalorians get killed by blaster bolts, but in the Mandalorian, they're basically impervious to blaster bolts on their armor. It is based on what they want to tell in the story. So that's just a little nitpick. It didn't really take me out of it. It's just something I noticed. But yeah, that massacre was crazy. His friend Will goes off to find his Ghorman girlfriend while Andor leaves with tears in his eyes. And a lot of people, Luthen, Bix, they all know that Andor has a bigger purpose in the galaxy and in the rebellion specifically. And everyone is trying to tell him, you have a bigger purpose, you have a bigger purpose. And he's fighting it because he wants to survive, and probably deep down in his head he knows if he continues this fight he will die. I mean, Luthen alludes to that. He's like, they're gonna hang us both. They're gonna hang both of them, no matter, they're damned for whatever they do, because they chose this life, they chose to fight, they chose to fight for the justice that against the Empire. So no matter what they're doing, but it's whether are we gonna fight and risk it all for something that matters. And that's what Mon Mothma does. The news comes with the Ghormans, and they're still trying to spew their propaganda in the Senate, but Senator Mon Mothma is having none of that. And also, and I mentioned this in a previous video, I thought that Senator Organa that we met, I thought that was like Bale's cousin or something, and then she calls him Bale, and I had to rewind. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Bail Organa? Now, if you know, I believe his name is the actor Jimmy Smith. I believe he voices him in the Clone Wars. He's obviously in the prequels as Senator Bail Organa. He's in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So why they replace the actor of Bail Organa with another pronounced actor, I don't know what the decision was. Maybe contract reasons. Jimmy Smith's still around acting, so he's there. Why would you not use him to keep that continuity, there? I don't know. That definitely threw me off a bit, because before we hear Senator Organa, but Bail Organa and Brea are not the only Organas. There's more Organas. So I thought he might have been like a cousin or a brother to Bail Organa, but no, that is Bail Organa. So that kind of took me out a little bit, which kind of sucks. I don't know why Jimmy Smith was not either hired for the show, asked to be on the show, or what happened that made him not Bail Organa, but that kind of sucked. But everything in the Senate, I love that we've been hearing Emperor Palpatine's name throughout this entire season, and I really thought we were gonna see him show up on the Senate floor, or maybe I was hoping to see him on the Senate floor, because I was expecting him to basically spew his lies about what happened to the Ghormans, but no, he wasn't there. Just some stand-in, and everybody talking bad about the Ghormans, and my mama had enough of it, and she gave the speech basically denouncing Emperor Palpatine and everything that the Empire is doing, and she knows that she has to get out of here as soon as she makes that speech. She was supposed to go with Senator Bail Organa's escorts, but Luthen told her that you can't trust them. You can't. They have leaks in there, and you have to get out with my people, aka, as we know later on in the last episode, Andor. That whole dynamic with Luthen and Mon Mothma, and Luthen and Andor, Andor telling everybody he's done, and it's like, oh, are you done? The lady, Luthen's right hand, tell him, oh, let me guess, you're tired, you're scared, you're this or that. It's like, no, everyone is scared, everyone is tired of the Empire. It's not about being done. You have to do this because they have no choice. Andor keeps talking about, I want to make my own decision, I want to make my own choices, and everybody's telling him that's what we're fighting for. The Empire is taking away our decision, our chance to choose, our decision making. We don't get to choose as long as the Empire is in rule, and that's what Andor it needs to figure out. Is you don't have a choice because the Empire took away your choices a long time ago. So to see Luthen trying to battle with Andor and to make sure that he knows what's up. And Andor, despite always saying he's gonna leave, he's gonna this and that, he always comes back to the fight because he knows that's what he needs to do. He knows that's what's right. And see Luthen and Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma is saying like, I'm more scared of you right now than anything else because Luthen, she brings up Ghorma, her friend, that I'm assuming gets murdered because he deemed him a security risk. And she's like, if you just deem anybody a security risk, like that's it for them. And Mon Mothma's the highest of security risk because she knows everything that's going on. She knows Luthen. She knows absolutely everything that's going on with the rebellion. So if she gets caught, that's basically wraps for everything for the rebellion. The whole dream will be dead. But I think Luthen really does care about her. And Luthen, despite how aggressive and how crazy he is, he sees the bigger picture and he knows someone like Mon Mothma is someone that needs to live and carry on the rebellion dream. And someone like him is more to the shadows and will probably, if he dies, it won't be as big a blow as say if Mon Mothma gets captured or killed because she is the hope and the face of the rebellion. So he needs to get her out of there. And the whole thing occurred. It's the whole sequence of Mon Mothma giving the speech, then Andor coming to get her, and then getting her out of the Senate building was so tense and so good. Like, and to see Mon Mothma, like she's always talked about freedom and justice and fighting, but we forget that this is the first time she's really seen like actual death in front of her. And we know she's been in the Senate in the Clone Wars, but she's never been on the front lines like Bale has. So this is the first time she's seen like a lot of death and repercussions of everything that's going on in the Senate and in the galaxy as a whole. So to see that was very tense. Like, I'm not gonna say this is a very these aren't happy episodes, but and I don't know if exciting is the word, but you're on your toes. Like you're wide awake when you're watching these episodes. And so Andor finally gets her out. She says, "How can I thank you?" And he's like, "You gotta make this worth it." And it's funny too, because Rebels, specifically season 3, episode 18 called Secret Cargo, I would highly advise you fans of Star Wars or even Andor, after watching episode 9, go watch that episode because in Andor it says that they go back to Andor's safe house and basically Luthen and them say, you're not going to take Mon Mothma off the planet. We're going to have Gold Squadron take her away and then bring her to Dantooine and eventually Yavin. And it's been a while since I've seen that episode of Rebels. So I was like, I know Hera and them are Phoenix Squadron, but I try to remember if Gold Squadron was there. So I immediately watched season 3, episode 18 of Star Wars Rebels, Secret Cargo, to see if everything lines up like that canon. Cause I'm a continuity nut. I'm a canon nut. Like I want everything to line up as close as possible. And it's funny, like after seeing Rebels, 2 things that I came to the conclusion. Man, I miss animated Star Wars, or more specifically, I miss the flavor of how George Lucas and Dave Filoni kind of do their Star Wars. Where I love Andor. Andor's fantastic. I mean, these 3 episodes, I'll give you my rating earlier on. This gets a 9 out of 10. Just a few nitpicky points that I had, but like Andor is fantastic. But Rebels, specifically watching this episode and some of the episodes down the line and all the deeper episodes, it shows you can still have that fun Star Wars feel, but still keep it deep. Andor is very deep and very it's a big social commentary on what's happening today in our own world, but it loses that fantasy a little bit that like I'm in Star Wars, and credit to the people who worked on Andor season 2 because there's a lot more aliens and they're not just littered in the background. They're senators giving speeches and Mon Mothma talking to them like it feels more Star Wars than Andor season 1 did. But I don't know, it's very tough to explain. It's like this essence that is missing that I qualify to make it a complete Star Wars show that I think shows like Clone Wars and Rebels do very well. And the original trilogy that George Lucas made, and even the prequels, it's like you could have that seriousness and that social commentary, but still keep Star Wars. And and even as I'm explaining it now, I'm not jealous of anybody working on Star Wars nowadays because it's a hard thing to capture to make it feel like Andor, but feel like Clone Wars and Rebels, if that makes any sense. But I watched the episode, so Ghost Squadron did go in that episode of Rebels. They helped her escape. It was actually the tone from that episode of Andor to episode 9 of Andor to Rebels, it actually is like 1-to-1 because that episode is like it has this little charm and it's anime, it's a little fun, but they harp on the point as soon as the episode starts, like this is important cargo. We have to get her out. We have to get her to Dantooine. We have to get her to safety. And it's funny too, because Ezra and Hera hears Mon Mothma's speech of the Senate denouncing Emperor Palpatine. It is not the same speech as it is in Andor, which kind of sucks because again, I know when the whole comic with how K2 and Andor met or how K2 came to be got complete retcon for them to tell their own story. The essence of what happened is true. She denounced the Emperor. She had to escape. The Ghost crew got her in the crew. I just wish like elements of that speech from Rebels were taken there and then you add on to whatever she said in Andor. Again, that's a little nitpicky thing because the essence is the same. She's denouncing the Emperor in both scenes, and also I do like that because she gives a speech after the Ghost crew and Ghost Squadron rescue her. She gives another speech to rally all the rebel cells, right? And they mentioned that in Andor. They mentioned, you want to hear Mon Mothma's speech because they cut her speech off in the Senate prematurely. So maybe they were like, all right, this is her speech broadcast to the entire galaxy. And they asked Andor, do you want to hear it? He said no. So I thought that was a very cool, like 1-to-1. They kept everything in line. So that was pretty cool. And then it ends with basically K2SO getting birthed anew. And I can't wait to see how these next 3 episodes are going to play out because, man, oh my God, these 3, 7, 8, and 9, that was a devastating roller coaster. I feel really bad for the Ghormans. 2 massacres, that's ridiculous. Like, the fact that the Senate and people in the galaxy keep, besides people like Mon Mothma and Bail, are turning a blind eye to everything that's going on is ridiculous. And I love that Mon Mothma called Emperor Palpatine, the monster that's going to come and get us all. And he is the monster. He is the cancer at the center of the galaxy. He is the monster that's allowing everything to happen. If you think that Palpatine doesn't know everything that's going on, he knows everything. I just wish we kind of seen him make an appearance or like a hologram or something, because like we're getting to a tail end where like he's trying to make sure everything's going according to plan for his Death Star project. But I love these episodes in a writing, production, acting perspective. It does not make me feel good. I felt terrible watching these episodes, and you're not supposed to feel good. Like the massacre on the Ghormans sucked. Like everything in there sucked, and the Empire sucks. Like before you know they suck, but now you know like oh my God, they really suck. So I give these episodes 9 out of 10. You let me know what you guys gave these 3 episodes, 7 through 9. Did you like them, or did you hate everything that's going on, but in like a good storytelling kind of way? You let me know in the comments below. And again, I'm your boy Hamid Mark, and please like and subscribe to D4 channel for all your Star Wars entertainment on this side of the YouTube galaxy. And as always, may the Force be with you.